Again, thank you everyone for being here. And I just want to share a little bit about Sasha Woodard. She developed a love for science at a very young age, and she quickly realized she had a true passion for science. She studied at the North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, where she received her BS, Bachelor of Science. She leverages her real-world industry experience and work as a scientist, along with nearly 30 years of dance training, to ignite and spark an interest in youth to pursue careers in science and other STEM-related fields. As the owner and founder of Dropping Seeds in Motion, Sesha facilitates workshops for students of all ages and uses art integration, including action-based learning, to help students learn and retain science content and concepts. She is also very passionate about empowering teachers, after-school providers, and parents to do the same through providing practical strategies, tips, and resources to engage youth within their own spheres of influence. So at this time, I'm gonna dance my way to Miss Sasha Woodard. So go right ahead.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Laura, for that warm introduction. Thank you, everybody that's on the call, that's in the session. I am super excited to be here to share with you and to have some fun this afternoon for me, because I'm in North Carolina, but morning for you all. So I would encourage and welcome and invite everybody to put the camera on if you're comfortable. This is a no judge zone. I want y'all to have fun. I want you to be able to take some tips and strategies back to your students, to your staff, because moving and dancing and just being able to get up and stand, it's just a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to do that. So again, thank you for the warm introduction, and I want to have fun. I'm a presenter that likes to be engaged with those that I am connecting with. So I welcome you to take your camera off. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to raise your hand and come off mute. Feel free to interject at any time. This does not have to be super formal. Sometimes I get really, really excited when I share. So if I'm talking too fast, just stop me and say, wait, what you say, Sesha? So I'm fine with that. So as we do that, sometimes when I'm off camera and I'm invited to get on camera, I have to go and, put on something a little different, brush my hair. That's fine. I'll wait for those to do that. But as we're waiting, could you just drop in the chat? I want you to think about a teacher that you had when you were growing up that was very impactful, very influential. And I want you to drop in the chat, what was it about that teacher that made them impactful? Think of a teacher that stands out in your mind and drop in the chat box. What was it about that teacher that made them have a positive impact on you in your life? Okay, they were funny. Their enthusiasm, she was fun, passionate about, let me see, pull this chat up here. Thank y'all for sharing. Had a good sense of humor and encouraged us to be goofy. Okay, we're gonna be goofy today. They're passionate about what they were teaching. Okay. K through 12 teacher made every day in school fun. We sang, danced, and she was always happy. Okay, I see, Barbara. She cared about what was going on in your life. Really important. They saw something in me. They actually cared about my life outside of the classroom. Yes, which is super important. Super important for after school program providers like you all. They linked history to present day. Passionate, see a lot of passion coming through, which motivated me a lot as a child. They were genuine and made us feel like they cared about us. Yes. One thing about children, they can tell if you're genuine or not. She loved to dance. Okay, me too. Kindness also. I remember my first grade teacher's face full of kindness. Wow, amazing. Thank you all for sharing. She sparked the class with joy. With joy, yes, joy is really important. Oh, well, thank you all so much for sharing all of that. I agree with everything that you all have shared. It's really important that we continue to operate in a place of positivity with working with our youth. And what I want to share with you is a reason why, or the reason why I started dropping seeds in motion. It was actually the opposite of what you all shared. So when I was in pre-K, I was playing the game Twister. Thumbs up if you remember the game Twister. It was like a little while ago. We were playing Twister, and I think it was like 4, right? Pre-K, like 4. And I remember the teacher yelling at me because I was trying to learn my left from my right. So here I am, a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, just wanted to play the game, just wanted to have fun. Many of you said fun. And she's yelling at me to the point where I was in tears. I was crying because of how she made me feel. My intention was to play the game and have fun playing the game, but she made me feel bad. And so as I continue to grow and continue to, I still had a love for science, that memory was etched in my brain. But just as you all have shared the positive, the impactful stories of, engagement with teachers, that's what we need to grab a hold to and continue to grab hold to. And so my journey was a part of me, the passion I had, not only for science, but bringing love, bringing joy, bringing kindness to the children that I work with, bringing kindness to the teachers and the after school program providers like yourself. So big virtual hug for you all for what you do, because I know it's not easy. And I thank you. If nobody has told you thank you today for what you do, thank you. So that's why I started Dropping Seeds in Motion, was not just to share science, but to share love. And the seed is not necessarily related to gardening, but it is related to everything that we do is a seed. It could be a good seed, a positive seed. Sometimes we just drop things we don't even know it on our children. And so it's important that we are conscious of the positivity that we are dropping. So just as a little background about how I started. So the intent today is for you to have some fun, for you to get up and move, and to learn some strategies to take back to your programs that you are working. I do have a couple slides that I will go through. If you're anything like me, I get tired looking at slide presentations, so I'm not going to have a whole lot of those, but we will do some movement as well. So if Laura could pull up the slides, and I just want to share a little bit about STEM, and a lot of some of the scientific research behind why moving and learning is important, while using movement and dance can actually spark excitement. Okay, so what to expect today? I think you can go on to the next one. I think I've talked a little bit with you already with what to expect today. I hope that you will understand the importance of STEAM, science, tech, engineering, art, and math. I would like to share strategies with you on how to engage your students in STEM using movement and dance. And of course, have fun, enjoy yourself. That is the goal, okay? Next slide. All right, so this is a question for you, because I can stand up here and I can talk all day long, but if I'm not meeting your needs, if I'm not giving you the information that you need, it's pointless of me being here. So if you could put in the chat, what knowledge would you like to gain by the end of this session? What is it that you want to learn from me? What resources do you need? And you could just put that in the chat and I can take a look at what that is. This is actually a picture of me working with some pre-K students. I did an in-residency science program with them, and I would come to the school and we would learn about different things related to science. This is actually, I think I was teaching about the water cycle right there. Okay, we can go on to the next slide. So as we're going throughout the presentation, please feel free to jot questions in the chat and I can address them. Awesome. Okay. So how do you currently How do you currently engage your students in STEM? And you could just do like a thumbs up or hands up if you currently engage your student in STEM and STEAM, STEAM being the A, the art part. Okay, K-5 group activities. I see you, Miss Melissa. Okay. Tips on how to get my students engaged in activities that require movement, mostly getting them engaged in dance. Okay, you're going to learn that today. Awesome. We can go to the next slide. How to encourage our youth to like dance. Okay, awesome. All right, keep jotting them in there and I will take a look. I want to get my kids excited, moving, and passionate about science. Okay. All right, thank y'all for sharing. So there is a STEM crisis. What do I mean by that? Well, the number of STEM-related jobs is increasing much faster than our youth are actually pursuing careers in these fields. And so to fill these jobs, we need to encourage our youth as early as we can, to get them excited about STEM and help build the skills they will need for the future. So what that means, there was some data that was done to show that in the year 2025, they're going to have more open jobs than people that we have to fill it. So it's really important that we get them excited now, and that's why you all are here. Okay, next slide. All right, so here's a little bit of research. Why is art integration important? So when we talk about art, the A in STEAM, art. So art could be poetry, it could be dance, movement, it could be pottery, art could be music, art could be it could be painting. So here's some research related to why the A in STEM is important. Art plays a very, very important role in human development. Scientists have shown that. And it enhances the growth of cognition and emotional pathways in the brain. Art also invokes emotion. Think about those situations where you hear a song from way back in the day. Oftentimes we think of how old we were or how young we were or what we were doing or that time in our lives. So music invokes emotion, which is a good foundation to actually learn, to build upon and learn with emotion. And it also enhances learning and increases retention. It helps to develop creativity, problem solving, and those critical thinking and communication skills and creativity. All right, next slide. Oh, and the picture on the right from that last slide, just so you know, was something that one of my students created when I was doing a workshop. We were talking about plant science, and I just allowed them to create how they wanted to. And that was something that that student created. All right, so did you know that the arts help improve long-term memory and cognition? There was a study that looked at how integrating the arts into subjects increase in subject areas affected students' long-term retention of the content. So in essence, they used art in the classroom to help the student, and they studied the students to see how much they retained. The students were placed in groups. Some were in classes where the arts were integrated into the science content, where the controlled groups didn't have art integrated. So one group had art, one group did not. The students were assessed before they had the art integration, immediately after, and 2 months after each unit. Well, what do you think the research showed? Next slide. The group that received the art integration instruction shows significant better retention than students in the control groups. I mean, if that's not a reason to integrate every subject with art, then I don't know what is, right? The increase in the retention and learning were the greatest for those students who had the lowest level of reading achievement. So the last bullet pretty much says that there's a gap that can be filled for the lower performing students. The increase is actually greater for those students because there's a gap if we include and integrate the art. So before we move on, and this is going to be really interactive, I have a question, and you can put it in the chat. You can come off mute. What is the formula for, or the molecules that make up water. Do you remember those from school? Do you remember the molecules that make up water? Let me expand here so I can see everybody. H2O, thank you, Nicole. Yes, H2O. All right, so I'm going to show you something quick that you can do with your students to help remember things like that, like the molecules. And so we see that, you're right, and this might be backwards, but so we see, yeah, Billy knew that. I see you, Billy. H2O. And so movement, you don't have to be a super experienced technical dancer just to move and include the movement in your lessons. H2O. So for example, we know it has 2 hydrogen, right? Because the H2, and it's got 1 oxygen. So here's something quick that you could, just to get your brain juices flowing. So if it has 2 hydrogen, and you can get up with me, and just kind of get in a fighting stance. You can go H2O. Just something super simple, right? But they're moving. It's 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen, or you go O. Something super simple. H2O. H2O. Right. Good. Yeah. So that's something really simple that you could do. And then I would encourage you to actually have your students think of things too. Think of movements that they could do to help them remember, which is very helpful as well. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. A little bit more research about STEM. A study examined the effects of art education on cognition, behavior, and brain development of children. After a 15-week creative movement musical arts program, the research compared their brain magnetic resonance imaging. They looked at the brain to see how it was developed before and after the program. Well, what happened? The students scored significantly higher on tests of cognition performance after the arts program than before. So clearly, and these are just a couple of thousands and thousands of research studies that support the benefits of integrating movement and art integration and dance in the classroom. Okay, next slide. Okay, I will share a little bit about action-based learning. And action-based learning is it's a pedagogy of teaching research founded by Dr. Jean Bladis-Motzi, and it's based on brain research that supports the link between movement and learning. Pretty much, it means when you're integrating action into learning, you have healthy, active students and better learners. I've been trained in action-based learning. I can share you a couple of things related to action-based learning, but some of the research also supports and shows that behavior gets better when you have them up and moving. And just start out small. You can start out by having them, walk around the building for a couple minutes before coming inside. I know that I used to be a science teacher as well. I taught earth science for a little while. And I know, especially after lunch, they're jumping around, they're moving around, they have all this energy. They just need to release that energy. There's also research that shows that if you take your students for a walk, like a very quick, if they have brisk activity, a walk, or for like 20 minutes or 15 minutes before an exam, they tend to score a little bit higher on that exam. Why? Because the blood is increasing to the brain. They're more focused, they're more sharp, they can think better. And brain science shows that if a child is sitting all day, they are missing out on vital movements to increase brain function and activity. And one thing that also you want to keep in mind is, modifying the movements for those students who may have disabilities as well. But if you wanted more information about action-based learning, you can check out their information at that site. Check my time. Okay. All right, next slide. Okay. So, and this is a good place for me to actually do another movement with you as well. There's 12 foundations of action-based learning. Cross-lateralization, which is having the ability to cross the midline of the body, whether you're crossing here or whether you're taking your feet, your one foot crossing it over the other foot, and then vice versa. Studies show that that is a foundation that is really important in reference to brain development. Here's something that you can do with your students to help with cross-lateralization. If you have scarves, or they could be little scraps of fabric, anything that you have, you can take it in one hand. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a figure 8. And a figure 8 supports cross-lateralization. And if you want to come off camera, you can. If you don't, that's fine too, but I would love to see your face. So you can take a scarf, put on some music. I'm going to put some music up here. It'll be really light. Okay, this is what you're going to do. Take a scarf. You're going to make an 8 in the air. You're going to go over, down, around, up. Over, down, around, up. Switch hands. Over, down, around, up. Over, down, around, up. Okay. Super simple, right? But that's something that is a foundation of learning that's good for their brain development. You can do that with K through 12. I've worked with middle school students who at first they look at me like, okay, I'm not dancing. But once they see everybody else dancing, they see everybody else fun, they will jump right in, promise you. One thing that I did though, is I did my right hand first, and then I did my left hand. Always make sure you're doing both sides because it's important for the brain development. So that's cross-lateralization. All right, another foundation that is important is hand-eye coordination, which helps the brain and is really important in learning. So if you would essentially just you can get a ball. I have a earth ball here. For this activity, I recommend they be softer. So just hand-eye coordination, up, down, just up, down. Okay, now, how do you add the science? Let's spell. Somebody give me a science word that we can spell. Give me a science word. Put it in the chat, come off mute, and we could just spell it as I'm throwing it up. Species, okay. All right, students, here we go. We're gonna learn how to spell species. And we're also going to help our hand-eye coordination. Get your soft, cushy balls and throw it up. S. Oops. Okay. Want to make sure you have everything clear away. That was my pencil. My pencil on my desk that fell, but that's okay. So make sure you have a very, very clear area. All right. S. P. E. C. I. E. S. Okay. Super simple, right? But it helps the brain. Okay. Rhythm and beat. And I'll just go through a couple. Rhythm and beat, just by the mere fact that we threw it up and put it down, that's rhythm and beat. Also, just by the mere fact when you're moving and dancing, that we'll do a little bit later, you're helping your brain build those neurons and things for the foundation of learning. Okay. Georgiana's got energy too. Okay. I got another movement for energy for that one. And really get creative. So when I saw that word energy, I saw energy. So we can also spell and also create energy. So we can stand up. I'm just going to create energy with my hands, but I'm also going to spell it. So we can do like ENERGY. So like top, middle, bottom. So ready, go. ENERGY. Another layer to add to that for energy is this. ENERGY. You can have them jump at the end. Yes. Yes, energy. So not only are they moving, they're focused, they're staying out of trouble, their brain is being developed, and they're spelling. Right? Win-win. Okay, cardiovascular. Sometimes this is what I do with my students before I even jump into a lesson to help the heart. Just run. Hold on a second. I'm gonna get a song for y'all. Okay. And it's going to be this one. Just have them run in place. We'll run in place for like 15 seconds. Ready? Go. Yes. Okay. So now we're helping our heart, which is good for learning as well. Okay. I'm going to do, let's go to the next one so we have enough time for the other part. Oh, I will say this before we go. Balance. This is my go-to for, especially working with the younger kids. They're all over the place, right? You got them in after school. They just came from the classes, school's out, right? If you do this, you will catch their attention and you'll have control and management like none other. Okay, so this is what it is. Tell them to balance on one foot. Or if you have children with a disability, tell them to hold your arms out right here, like this. Or just touch your nose. So balance on one foot. That stops everything that you're doing. They get some focus. And now tell them to switch. Switch feet. Balance. Switch. Now, I want you to ask them a question. What is, name the parts of a plant. And so they're going to go, what's going to happen is their brain is going to start to think, and you might see them wiggle a little bit but that's fine, because the brain and the body are connected. Does that make sense? That was a long 15 seconds. Yeah, it was a little long. Any questions before we move on? Thoughts? Any ahas? Y'all warmed up for the next part? Okay, good. All right, if you have questions, just drop them in the chat. We'll go on to the next slide. Okay, so one of the things that is my specialty is bringing science alive and using movement, dance, and other science like props, like things like this, to help bring it alive. But you can actually do it with other subjects as well. But for today's topic, we're going to be talking about science. So when you are, if you want to teach about science and you want them to bust out of the box of the worksheet, right? Because worksheets are good, but they need to get up and move around. Thanks, Dan, because I love that idea. Yes, works every time. So shape, consider what you are teaching. Our bodies make so many different shapes in general, right? I have a workshop that I do that's talking about, it teaches about the butterfly life cycle. And a part of the life cycle, there's a chrysalis, right? That's the hard part of the shell. That's just like a cocoon, where the butterfly just stays for a long period of time, right? So you could tell your students, invite them to ask them what shape it is, especially working with elementary. What shape is it? Can you make your body into that shape? Put on some music. Chrysalis. They can do it in different directions. Chrysalis. And you can even have them spell it as you're moving in different directions. Chrysalis. 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 Right? That's something you could do. Now, think about how something moves too. I mean, literally, you could have a whole dance choreography about the metamorphosis of a butterfly. What about how the caterpillar moves? Students, I invite you to show me, how does a caterpillar move? And you will see them get on the floor and they will crawl slowly. and you say, students, I invite you, show me after the caterpillar, what's the next phase? Show me. And this is something that you could do. Add the vocabulary. I'm having to spell it. And you can include fabrics. Fabrics are really important as well because it brings a different layer. It brings a different layer to the atmosphere and to the environment of your learning. My elementary school kids, when they do this, they love it. Students, the butterflies coming out of the chrysalis. So you watch them come down slow, slow. Now, students, you're a butterfly. Get your wings and fly. And they'll just fly around. They'll fly around. I'm telling you, they will love it. Try it. So, as I mentioned, consider shape, color, texture, how it moves, how doesn't it move, how does it interact with its environment? Think about that, the chrysalis. Ask them the question. The chrysalis doesn't just stay in the atmosphere by itself. What is it attached to? So perhaps you have a group of students that could be the branch. They could show that they're the branch, and then the chrysalis will be close to the branch. There's so many things that you could do. I invite you to get creative with it. I think there were a couple comments in the chat. Let me check. Yes, moving for circle time is great. Oops, I think I missed it. Lots of chat messages coming in. That's good. That's good. Keep them coming. Okay. Adults, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. Use that for the next staff meeting, Anna. That will be so much fun. I'll share this story with you. So I'm working with a group of educators, after school programmers, after school program providers like yourself, who I did a similar on-site presentation with them. And at first they said, no, I'm not going to dance. I'm not going to move. I'm just going to sit and watch. But you will be amazed once you get into the atmosphere. At the end of that session, everybody was up dancing and moving. They had their fabric. They were getting it. Dance. The teacher in our program does something like with half graders. They start their activity by going into a circle and picking which animal they feel like that day. Yes. Then they take turns moving around the room like each animal. Yes. It's funny and they love it. Yes. Great warm up. So much you can do. Thank you for sharing. Make sure I didn't miss any. Yes. Okay. All right. We're going to go to the next part. I hope you all are warmed up because now we're really going to jump into it. Okay. Who remembers the animal cell? And it's like, no. Yes, dance like yes. Okay. I want to show you, we are going to see together what we remember about the animal cell. Can anybody pick out one organelle? So this is an animal cell. There's a plant cell, there's an organelle, an animal cell. Plant cell and animal cell, they are a little bit different. And so I remember learning this in school. And what we're going to do is, anybody remember any function of any one of those cells? Yes! Who said that? Right, lift. I'm sorry if I'm pronounced Monica. She said the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. I'm glad she said that because I couldn't think of a better definition but that. Anna said that's the only one she remembers. Okay, let's start with that one. The mitochondria. It is the powerhouse of the cell, which means that it gives the cell energy. Now we're going to create a choreographed organelle animal cell dance real quick, okay? Let me check my time here. Okay, we're good. Powerhouse of the cell. So this is the movement we'll do for powerhouse of the cell. And I encourage you to do this with any type of definition as well. Have your students figure out the movements. They love that. Powerhouse of the cell. Remember we did the H2 O. We're going to use that same movement for mitochondria. Mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell. Okay? So mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell. Okay? Very good. I learned to rap about cells. Okay, Marilyn, in 7th grade. And it's the only way I can remember the parts and the functions. Yes, the power of art, music, song. Endoplasmic reticulum is for monitoring cell metabolism. Thank you, Charlie. Okay, let's go with that. Monitoring the endoplasmic reticulum is for monitoring cell metabolism. So essentially how things break down, right? So for the endoplasmic reticulum, does anybody have a movement they want to show me for that one? I want to give you opportunity. Charlie, would you have a movement or anyone else? I see you, Charlie. Yes. Good. Thank you.
I'm juggling things that I need to disperse throughout the cell. You go here, you go there, over here, there. No, you here, over here, over there.
I see it. I love it. Y'all give Charlie a hand for jumping in. Okay. Okay, so we're going to take that movement. So after the mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell, endoplasm, reticulum, endoplasm, reticulum, endoplasm, reticulum. Make it your own. You can go endoplasm. You can do this if you want. Endoplasm, reticulum. Right, because Charlie, you said you're taking things in and you're putting them out, right? It's identifying where it needs to go. Okay. Awesome. Let's go on. Next one. Anybody want to go ahead?
I flunked pre-med biology, so I hope I got that right.
I think you did. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Let's go on to the next one. Let's add on because then we're going to do it to some music. So we've got the mitochondria, the endoplasmic reticulum. Just throw one in the chat for me. And then we could do this real time movement in science. Let's see. What about the cell wall, which is super important, the cell membrane rather. Oh, I'm sorry. I see it there. Okay. Ribosomes. Who remembers what the ribosomes are? Ribosomes. Guess what? We all going to know by the end of this session. Okay, ribosomes. They are a minute particle consisting of RNA and associated proteins found in large numbers in the cytoplasm of living cells. They bind messenger RNA and transfer RNA to synthesize polypeptides and proteins. So in essence, what that means is they help with RNA construction. So let's pull out something there. Let's pull out the fact that they are minute particles. Okay, because remember I talked about you can identify the shape. Anybody have a movement for that? Monica, you have a movement for that, Monica? No pressure, I'm just saying, I didn't want to leave you out if you did. Yes, the mRNA has to do with the COVID vaccination. Yep. Okay, so I'm just checking here. RNA. So they're from art making cells out of food. Yep. Minute particles. So So you have DNA, which is deoxyribonucleic acid, and you have the RNA, which is a ribonucleic acid. But we're not gonna go that deep today. Today's is fun. So the minute particles, right, that help pretty much within the cell. So minute, we're gonna show a movement for minute, okay? And it's gonna be, our last movement was this, right? For endoplasmic reticulum, minute, 2, 3, 4. It's like you're bringing your body in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. First one, mitochondria, right? Powerhouse of the cell. Endoplasmic reticulum, which is function is related to metabolism. Okay. Ribosomes. You bring them down. Ribosomes. Good. Okay. Let's see. Okay, we'll do one more. And then we'll put it all together. Charlie, do you have another one? Or psyllium. All right, that's the perfect one to end up with. Psyllium moves the cell. So the cell needs to be able to move, right? And so the psyllium, I don't know if you can see that picture. The psyllium is like an appendage. It's like kind of like a appendage that helps it move. So do you have a movement for cilia? Kate.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Can we see? Thank you. Beautiful psyllium. Katie said 1, 2, 3, 4. Make it your own. You could do 1, 2, 3, 4. You can move with it. You could do 1, 2, 3, 4. Psyllium. Endoplasmic reticulum. Ribosome. Mitochondria. All right. Awesome. So we are going to, and you can, we're going to put it all together. Y'all want to do that? With some music. That's doing great.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we'll do it without the music first to review. And then I'll throw on some music and then we'll rock with it. We'll have fun and we'll be done with our science through movement lesson. Sound good? Okay. All right. The first one was a mitochondria. What is its function? You can come off mute.
The
Powerhouse of the cell, right? The energy, very good. The next one, so powerhouse of the cell, right? Mitochondria. The next one was the endoplasmic reticulum, which is related to metabolism. So everything's what to go, where to go, how to break down, right? Endoplasmic reticulum. Yes. Okay, the next one was ribosomes, which is related to just small particles related to mRNA, messenger RNA. So they're small. So we did that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, very good. Small particles, ribosomes. The last one is the psyllium. Really get funky with that. Psyllium. Let's go. Okay, we're gonna put it all together. I'm gonna do it with you. Put some music on. Can y'all see me okay? Okay. I'm gonna give you because I want to have the music up, I'm gonna give you a 5-second countdown. So when I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that's when we start, okay? All right. Not yet. It's coming. You ready? Cilia. I love that cilia. I love that cilia. That feels so good. All of it's just great. Awesome. Awesome. You all just learned like what, 4 different organelles in the function in like 5 minutes? Can you imagine the academic success that we can give our kids, our students, when we integrate just a little bit of movement? You don't need a whole lot, just a little bit of movement. You have excitement, you'll have joy, you'll have engagement, you'll have increased brain function. I'm excited to hear the testimonies that you are going to share, and the dances too. Any questions at all? I want these time for questions. And you can go to the last slide. I will say, before I take questions, if you wanted more information about how to incorporate movement in your lessons, feel free to go to my website, download. It's a free movement map for science. So it kind of walks you through the steps you could take, similar to what I did. It walks you through those steps to show you how you can create your own lesson. And then there's also an opportunity for you to get more free downloads, videos, and all that other good stuff. So I am excited. If you have any questions at all, I will leave time for questions or thoughts or ahas or yes. I see Anna has a question.
I do. So, thinking of, so I was a very shy kid in school, and I don't know that I would have ever had the courage to get up and dance. What would you recommend for some of those shyer kids that might need a little bit more of easing into it? You know, the go-to is like, oh, I just want to sit. I don't want to do it. What would you recommend easing those shyer kids in?
That's a really good question. And I'm glad you asked that, because I was like, believe it or not, I was like beyond super, super shy when I was in pre-K, to the point where the teacher said, oh, she needs to go to a special school, but no. So I've experienced those situations where kids are really shy. I never pressure them to join, because what I find that you take the fun away when you make them do it. So what I do is I ask them, well, you don't have to get up and dance with us, but if we're learning about the sun, right? Would you like to stay here and be a sun ray? Would you like to use this as a streamer, just a simple streamer? But would you like to do that? Or if we're learning about photosynthesis, would you like to be the leaf with the stomata on the back and just wave that around? Like, really ask them what they're comfortable with. I would never pressure them, because it's a no pressure zone. And then what you'll find is that they'll start to open up, and then you'll find them just dancing, and they'll start to actually lead the choreographed movements. Yeah. Thank you for that question. Any other questions? Check the chat. Yes, Billy, it is definitely, I agree. And I'm glad that you think so too. An excellent way to help students learn and have fun. Let's see. Charlie says, I always preface with challenge by choice. And also I assign them quiet roles if that's a possibility. Yes, even when you're talking about plant science and how the dirt in the soil plays a role in plant sciences. And I'll have like brown fabric and I say, well, why don't you be the fabric? Why don't you be the dirt and the nutrients and just stay still? But the beauty in it is that even if students are not actively engaged, they're still listening and they're watching. And so they're still learning. They're learning the vocabulary, they're learning the functions and everything that you're teaching just by being present. What's my most memorable dance lesson success? Ooh, okay. Yeah. So I was at a university where I was doing a workshop in the summer. The students were middle school and I was teaching about polymers. And we were doing a lot of different activities. And at the end of the session, the student had an aha light bulb moment when I said, well, if you think this is fun, maybe you should think about pursuing a degree in material science. And she was like, huh. So that was a really, really like eye-opening moment for me that when we make it fun, when we make it engaging, it is impactful. Question. No keepers or have them hold stationary object. Yes, that's also a good way, Charlie, to engage students who may not necessarily want to jump in. So they could actually write. It's a great idea. They actually write the content. Have them hold objects. Like I used to have a big sunball. It was like almost the shape. It was like 5 times bigger than this. They just stand there and hold the sun. Let's see, Georgiana, I do a lot of dances for brain breaks. I used to do movement for vocabulary, and this is a good reminder that movement helps in memory. Yes, keep it up, Georgiana. And Charlie says, like holding a large yellow cardboard cutout of this. Yep, the sun. Dan, this is also great. I'm glad you were enjoying it. For younger kiddos who need help calming down again after a movement activity, do you have any other cool go-to cool down activities for recentering? Yes. So the question is cool down activities. One of the activities I do with them is, you can do this with me as well. I'll tell them, take one hand, touch your nose. The other hand, pat your head. So it's actually rubbing your head, pat your nose. And then switch. Now, pat your nose and rub your head. So I see your eyes, I see you thinking, now switch. I see you thinking, switch, right? So they don't have time to do anything but have their brains focus on that. And then sometimes what I do is whisper. And if they're running around, like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Especially if I get a science tool and they're like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? I can't hear it. Let me be quiet so I can hear her. So that's another thing you could do. We could create a feeling movement, meaning how do you move if you want to show happy? Yes. How when you want to show angry, sad? Yes, right. Because you know what? I'm glad that you shared that, Kalua, because we're living in a time right now too. There's a lot of mental health issues going on right now that we need to wrap our brains around and help circumvent, and being able to actually really tap into our moods is super important. So yes, definitely a good way to do that. And also meditation, just sitting. Sometimes I just have them sit and just listen. I have different music playing, like birds or water, just to really just feel, right? We just go, and kids go with us. We're like, come on. Just sit and just stop. So very, very important as well. And I think, we have 2 minutes left. Have a couple more questions. Indigenous cultures are here in Alaska, use dance as storytelling. This is a great application as well. Yes, dance can definitely tell a story. Even without music, even without lyrics to music, it could be just instrumental. 15. Oh, I have 15 minutes. Is that what I was trying to end it. Okay, well, this is fine. This is good. Also have them circle up after an energetic activity and forming the circle can wind down a bit. Yes, and you know the activity that I showed you where they would balance on one foot and then switch. That's good to actually do as a cool down as well. And when I have them do that, I ask them questions like about what they learn. One thing you can also do, and I can actually show my feet here. If I could do that. So we talked about cross sterilization. So being able to cross the midline of the body. So you can have a balance, cross, down, and then go the other way. Balance, cross, down. That strengthens their muscles as well. And then the other side, balance, cross, down. And then you come up the other side, balance, cross, down. Now, here's something else I do with my feet that they actually love to do, which is called like a crisscross. So I would take my feet, and hopefully you can see it. I just go cross and open, and cross and open, and cross and open, cross and open, cross and open, cross and open. So you've got a lot going there. You've got your cardio, your heart, you got the muscles with the jumping, you got the cross sterilization. And one thing I also do with that is add the arms. So you can do double duty. You do cross and open and cross and open, but the feet and the arms. And one of the things that I learned being trained in action-based learning is that, you know, a lot of times you hear people say, oh, they're so advanced, they're gonna walk before they crawl. But in essence, you really want to make sure they're crawling first before they walk, because there's a brain pathway that needs to essentially like connect. You don't want to miss those brain pathways. When I was doing my training in action-based learning, one of the instructors said that he went to visit the schools to do some training. And he said to the teacher, go ahead and have your students crawl across the gym. And he would be able to identify who had some reading gaps, some developmental gaps as far as academically. Well, the students who had trouble crawling were the ones who were actually needed more help with reading, which is, it's a good assessment to be able to do so that we know what to work on. I mean, you can have all your kids just crawl for a little bit in the beginning of the day, right? In the afternoon when they're with you, just to be able to identify those things. So crawling before they walk is a good thing. Let's see if you have any questions. Paintbrush bit. I don't know what, I'm not sure what the paintbrush, I'm sorry, I must have missed it. I love it too, just came to my mind as we speak. Smiles, yes. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. Smiles. Smiling is super, super important because it releases endorphins in your brain. Like, oh, that's, yes. Like smiling is so important. Have to do that. We have to teach our kids to smile, and they learn by us smiling at them. I would love to work on some stuff together. Kalua. Yes. For hand-eye coordination, playing jackstone is wonderful. I have to look at it. I don't know what jackstone is. I have to look at it. I don't claim to know it all, but I have to look that up. Veronica, jackstone. We've got some great, y'all keep the questions coming because we have some time. Georgiana, I'm just noticing your comment earlier. Absolutely. Alaska Native dance is such a beautiful form of storytelling and sharing. I would love to see more of the Alaska Native dances. So I do, Laura asked me if I work with special needs children. Normally when I do my workshops, I always ask that question, are there any students who have disabilities or students with special needs? Because I want to make sure that I'm meeting their needs as well. So I have worked with students who have special needs. I've had summer camp in my county and summer science camp, and there was a student who was diagnosed with ADD. And just knowing that, I knew that I needed to make some accommodations for him, which was fine. I was glad I knew. And so I have what I call a boomer board. Like, it's kind of like not a boomer board, excuse me. It's like a bouncy board. So anytime he needed to like get out some energy, I just say, go stand on the bouncy board. And he would get on there, he would just bounce. It's like a little mini trampoline, just bounce, and just bounce. Yep. Any other questions? These are good. So do you think that I have given you enough strategies and tips, or at least a start, so that you can go back and share with the students that you work with? I see your thumbs up. I see your thumbs up too, Jeannie. I'm not sure if I pronounced your name right. Sorry. Yes, you're very welcome. Lots of great exercises. Yes. You are very welcome. I thoroughly enjoy being here with you all. I could dance all day with you all. And it definitely, I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook, Dropping Seeds in Motion, and I'm on Instagram, science_moves. So science_moves. Science_moves. So that's me. I'd love to hear your testimonies. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions at all, and I would love to help and support. If you are ever in Homer, Alaska, Shelly, I would love to come meet your students. I have never been to Alaska before, so hey, it's time to go. I would love to come. Yes. And that sounds like we need to arrange that, huh? Trip to Alaska.
So Sesha, you the H2 Oasis and the cell movements got me really jazzed up and excited about biology and chemistry. Thank you so much for this really fun and interactive workshop. My blood is like all fired up and I'm ready. We're all kids at heart. That's how I felt today. I learned something new from you and from a little bit more about the animal cells. So I just want to thank all of you for joining us, and please thank Sasha Woodard for today's amazing, fun, and interactive workshop. We really greatly appreciated you sharing your pizzazz, your knowledge, and of course your extensive experience and expertise on movement and science.